Finally, learn the decorations. It is divided into the stem, calyx, leaves, flowers, and assembly parts. Start with learning the stem. There are a total of 4 stems. You can refer to the chart for specific lengths, or adjust according to your preference. Simply crochet shrimp stitch using the corresponding yarn. Pay attention, when crocheting the decorations, always add the gem twist yarn. The gem twist yarn needs to be separated into strands. Extract one strand and crochet it together with the corresponding color. Please refer to the demonstration for the method of separating strands. Let me demonstrate the method of extracting the gem twist yarn. As you can see, the gem twist yarn is a bundle of threads woven together. Find any position where the thread starts and cut it. Gently shake off the small loose ends. This will form a yarn end at the cut, along with a few loops. Gently pull the yarn tail. Pay attention to picking the yarn tail out from the loops. The loops will loosen. Make sure to pull gently. If after pulling a few stitches, you find the yarn tail is knotted, then untie the knot at that part of the yarn tail, or choose another nearby section to cut. Repeat the previous steps. Until the yarn tail can be pulled, and all the loops come undone one by one. Then, combine the strand of gem twist yarn that was unraveled with another yarn to work as a group for crocheting. When referring to a single strand later on, it actually means such a group of yarns. This will not be repeated in subsequent instructions. For the shrimp stitch technique, please see the demonstration. The following demonstrates the crocheting method of the shrimp stitch. Start with a chain stitch. Chain 2. Then insert the hook into the back loop of the first chain stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again, pull through both loops on the hook. Keep the hook in position. Rotate the fabric piece below clockwise. Then, pick up 2 strands with the hook like this. Yarn over. Draw through. Yarn over again, pull through the loops on the hook. Continue rotating the fabric piece clockwise. Pick up 2 strands with the hook like this. Yarn over. Work a single crochet. Continue rotating the fabric piece clockwise as you proceed. Pick up the same 2 strands as before, and work a single crochet. Continue repeating this method. Rotate the fabric piece clockwise, then pick up 2 vertical strands from the top left, and work a single crochet. Crochet to the desired length. Secure with 1 chain stitch. Leave yarn tails. Cut the yarn. If sewing is needed, leave longer yarn tails. This is the crocheting technique of the shrimp stitch. That concludes the explanation of the flower stem. Next, we will learn about the calyx. There are 2 parts. Both use the magic ring method. Work back and forth. The new stitch technique used is EN002. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Take the corresponding yarn. Start with a magic ring. Then make 1 chain stitch as your beginning chain. In the magic ring, work 5 single crochets. After completing, pull the tail to close the ring. Row 1 is now complete. Continue with row 2. Start with 1 chain stitch as your beginning chain. Turn your work. Pick up the corresponding stitch and work a EN002. That means working 2 single crochets into the same stitch. The EN002 is now completed. Continue crocheting to finish this row. Now work on the last row, row 3. Start with 1 chain stitch as your beginning chain. Turn your work. Work 1 single crochet. Make 5 chain stitches. Starting from the second to last stitch, work a slip stitch correspondingly. Continue working single crochets correspondingly. Refer to the chart to complete this row. Leave a 20 cm yarn tail for sewing. That concludes the demonstration of the calyx. Next, let's learn how to make the leaves. There are 2 sizes, large and small. Both start with a foundation chain. Work back and forth to crochet the leaf. Then crochet the leaf motif. You can crochet the leaf motif randomly according to your preference. Finally, crochet the edging. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Here, I'll demonstrate the crocheting method, using a large leaf as an example. First, we'll crochet the leaf. Start with a foundation chain. The foundation chain for the swatch is already done. Chain 1 to begin. Insert the hook into the second to last chain, and make 1 slip stitch. Don't pull too tight. For the leaf slip stitches, do not tighten. Continue by crocheting 1 single crochet. Then, make 1 half double crochet. 3 double crochets. One half double crochet. 1 single crochet. 4 slip stitches. After completing this row, the side with the clearer texture will be considered the front of the leaf. Then, chain 1 to begin. Turn your work. Start from the second to last slip stitch, picking up the back loop of the stitch. Work 1 slip stitch. Continue by picking up the back loop, and working 1 single crochet. 1 half double crochet. 3 double crochets. One half double crochet. 1 single crochet. And 1 slip stitch. You can see that this forms a horizontal line on the front side. Continue with 1 chain to begin. Turn your work. Start from the single crochet, pick up the back loop, half stitch, closer to the wrong side, and work the corresponding stitch pattern. Complete the position of the slip stitch. Pick up 1 strand of the beginning chain, and work a half double crochet. Continue to the starting chain stitch, and correspondingly make 1 single crochet. Then work 4 slip stitches. And proceed with the previous crochet pattern. Start with 1 chain, turn the work, pick up the back loop, half stitch, closer to the wrong side, and work the corresponding stitch pattern. After completing the slip stitch, cut the yarn. This completes half of the leaf. Continue with the other half. Attach the yarn on the right side of the right side with a starting chain. Then crochet a row of slip stitches. When you reach the previously worked stitch pattern, you can pick up the insertion point and continue crocheting. After completing, make one chain as your beginning chain. Turn the work. Pick up the strand of the slip stitch braid closest to you. Crochet the corresponding stitch pattern. Ensuring the technique is symmetrical with the other side. Everyone, refer to the chart to complete it. Once completed, take a look. The right side of the leaf will have this symmetrical texture. If you don't want a symmetrical effect here, you can adjust the row count back and forth according to your preference, and the number of stitches in each row, to create a unique shape. The crochet technique for small leaves is similar to that for large leaves, but the starting chain count and the row count back and forth are different. You can also adjust the leaf shape according to your preference. That concludes the explanation for the leaves. Next, move on to crocheting the leaf motif. Work single crochets along the horizontal lines on the right side of the leaf. The specific direction and number of the leaf motifs can be determined according to your preference. After completing, fasten off the yarn. That concludes the explanation for the leaf motif. Finally, I'll demonstrate crocheting the edging. Attach the yarn above the stem on the right side of the front of the leaf. Then crochet in rounds using Rev-SC crochets. Near the edge where the leaf motif is close, you can work into those stitches together. Pay attention when crocheting along the edges. Still pick up the stitches closer to the wrong side. At the tip, you can insert your hook into two positions at once. This will make the tip more pronounced. Finally, fasten off and weave in the ends. You can refer to the chart to crochet the remaining leaves. The specific number of leaves can also be adjusted according to your preference. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the leaves. Next, we'll learn how to crochet flowers. There are 3 types: large flowers, small flowers, and flower buds. The crochet techniques for these flowers are relatively flexible and complex. You can start by learning them step by step, then crochet according to your own preference. Start by learning the large flowers. The structure is divided into 7 parts: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The new stitch techniques used are HDC 2-in-1 and treble crochet. Follow the sequence and start by learning how to crochet part 1. Please watch the demonstration. Take out the corresponding yarn. We will call it color 1. Choose a length of about 10 centimeters. Fold the yarn over 4 times. Secure the folded yarn. Insert the hook into the loop at one end. Draw the yarn through. Then make 1 beginning chain to start. Crochet single crochets through these 4 strands of yarn. Work them tightly. You can push and squeeze as you crochet. After crocheting for a bit, you can try shaping it by coiling. Keep the stitch position facing down. You can shape this section into a solid figure 8 with the top filled in. Or adjust the shape according to your preference. Adjust the number of single crochets based on the shape. When you reach the desired length, leave a 30 cm tail and cut the yarn. Thread the yarn needle. Coil the single crochets neatly. Sew the shape together at the stitch positions to secure it. Be mindful to sew only this part. You can leave the loops in this section unsewn. Sew in any excess tails together. Trim off the excess tails. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. We will consider this side as the right side. This completes the first part. Continue to crochet the second part. Take the same color yarn as the first part. Pay attention here. When crocheting, in the middle of the circle on the right side, pick up the stitch from the bottom and join the yarn. Then make 13 chain stitches. Work 1 single crochet in the second to last stitch. Chain 2. Skip 2 stitches below and work 1 half double crochet. Continue with 2 chain stitches. Skip 2 stitches, work 1 double crochet. Chain 2. Skip 2 stitches, work 1 treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert the hook, draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat this 3 times. The treble crochet is complete. The braid on the upper right consists of its stitches. Continue with 2 chain stitches. In section 1, pick up and work 1 slip stitch in the corresponding position. Row 1 is complete. Continue forward and work 1 slip stitch. Then make 1 chain stitch. Turn your work. Pick up the chain spaces and stitches. Work a double crochet in the corresponding position. When you reach the half double crochet position, work a half double crochet in the corresponding position. Work 2 single crochets in the chain space. Work 1 single crochet at the tip. Make 2 chain stitches and 1 single crochet. Crochet symmetrically on the other side. Finally, work a slip stitch in the approximate position on section 1. Cut the yarn. Row 2 is complete. There's something to note here. All stitch techniques and stitch counts for the flower section can be adjusted according to your preference. If you want to make this part narrower, you can switch to half double crochet or single crochet. If you want to widen it, you can similarly change to longer stitch techniques. For the other parts of the flower, the stitch techniques and shapes can all be adjusted according to your preference. The sample here is just a demonstration. It's fine if there are slight differences when crocheting compared to the chart. Next, switch to color 2 for row 3. Start by joining the yarn in section 1. At an approximate position. Then work the corresponding stitch into the back loop only of the stitch. Let me emphasize this uniformly. When crocheting flowers with half stitches, always pick up the half loop closer to the wrong side of the fabric piece. This creates horizontal bars on the right side. When you reach the chain stitch position, similarly pick up one strand and crochet. Continue to complete this row. After completing, join with a slip stitch in section 1. Then fasten off the yarn. Row 3 is completed. Continue with row 4. Take out color 3 yarn. Join the yarn in the back loop of the edge on the right side of the previous row. Crochet 5 chain stitches. Start from the second to last stitch, and crochet a slip stitch correspondingly. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitches in the back loops. This will form a petal shape with varying heights. After completing the slip stitch following the single crochet, crochet 5 chain stitches. Return and crochet a slip stitch correspondingly. End with a slip stitch in the last back loop. Cut the yarn. Row 4 is completed. Adjust the piece slightly. Finally, crochet row 5. You can see that small horizontal lines form on the right side of the fabric. Choose any row of horizontal lines to crochet, or crochet both rows. The yarn choice can be based on your preference. The techniques at both ends are identical to row 4. The stitch pattern in the middle is random, just achieve a gathered effect. Choose any position for crocheting. For the sample, select any position to crochet. Here, the stitch count of the prominent part. You can also adjust according to your preference. Secure all yarn tails on the wrong side. Tidy up. Let me emphasize this again. At the horizontal lines formed on the right side of the piece, you can crochet a lace trim according to your preference, or choose not to crochet it. This won't be repeated in subsequent sections. That concludes the explanation for part 2 of the crocheting. Now, let's move on to part 3. Continue crocheting in the remaining part of section 1, with the right side facing up. First, take the corresponding yarn. For the subsequent joining position, you can refer to the chart. You can also adjust according to your preference, as long as the final product looks nice. Then, refer to the pattern along the upper part. Pick up stitches, and work half double crochets, with one chain stitch as a transition in between. The stitch count for the swatch is random. Finally, slip stitch close to the edge of section 2. Continue with the second row. Still working on the right side. First, join the yarn. Then pick up a chain space, and make one single crochet. Make one half double crochet. In the next chain space, make one half double crochet. And 2 double crochets. Continue picking up the chain spaces, and working the corresponding stitch patterns. Here you can adjust the stitch patterns according to your preference, to form the shape of petals. if you want the edge of the petals to look more beautiful at the end. You can slip stitch a bit more to make it neat and tidy. Make specific adjustments based on the actual situation. Row 2 is completed. Move on to row 3. Join the yarn on the left side of the right side. Make one beginning chain to start. Then work the back loop only with Rev SC crochets. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Tuck the yarn tail to the wrong side. Try to keep the edges neat and tidy. Then weave in the ends on the wrong side. This completes section 3. Next, move on to section 4. Start by joining the yarn at the boundary between sections 2 and 3, on the left side. Pick up the yarn from an approximate position at the back. Then work the corresponding number of chain stitches. Next, at approximately the middle position, on the side edge of section 2. Slip stitch into the last rows. Insertion point so that no yarn marks show on the right side. Continue making chain stitches. Slip stitch again. About 2 to 3 stitches apart on the left side. The placement and overlap effect of the petals here can be referenced from the finished product. You can also adjust according to your preference. Then return, and pick up the chain spaces to continue crocheting. Finally, fasten off the yarn. The stitch techniques at the beginning and end are not fixed here, just ensure that the edge looks neat. Continue with the second row. Join the yarn on the right side of the front. Then refer to the pattern to crochet the corresponding stitches. Increase stitches where you want the petals to spread out more. Work a HDC 2-in-1, which means working 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. The HDC 2-in-1 is completed. Continue to finish this row. Finally, fasten off the yarn. For rows 3 and 4, continue to refer to the pattern, join the yarn, and crochet. There's one thing to pay attention to: the positions for joining the yarn and the final slip stitch should be as close as possible to the second section. This helps create a natural curve on both sides. Making it look more aesthetically pleasing. When crocheting the last row, also pay attention to connecting the beginning and ending. When you reach the middle position, note that at this point on the right side, where there is a short needle stitch, you need to crochet across rows to make the petal's dent texture clearer. Pick up the remaining half stitch of the corresponding stitch in the second row below, and crochet a Rev SC half stitch with the front loop of the stitches in the third row. Continue crocheting. You can see that the petal forms this edge texture. At the end, also pay attention to the connection. When crocheting the other sections, also pay attention to connecting the beginning and ending. This will not be repeated in the following parts. This concludes the explanation of crocheting for section 4. For sections 5 through 7, the crochet methods are similar to section 4. Let me explain how to determine the positions for the remaining sections. Section 5 starts by joining the yarn at the joining position of section 4. Then make chain stitches. Slip stitch underneath the tip of section 2. Then continue crocheting. For section 6, join the yarn a little below and behind section 5, which is around the position of section 2. Then make chain stitches. Next, at the approximate position, where the chains reach on section 2, work 1 slip stitch. Continue making chain stitches. Then slip stitch at the joining point. Between sections 2 and 3. Then continue crocheting. Finally, work on section 7. Behind section 6. Join the yarn from the wrong side, near the first row of section 1. Choose the exact position based on your preference. Make chain stitches. On section 2. At the first row on the wrong side. Slip stitch around the middle of the petal. Then continue crocheting. Refer to the pattern for details. Refer to the previous demonstration. Complete the large flowers according to your preference. Look. This is what the large flower looks like after it's completed in the sample swatch. Next, let's learn about the small flowers. The crochet technique is similar to the large flowers, except for section 2 being different. The rest are the same. Here, I'll give a brief explanation of crocheting section 2. Start by joining the yarn in the middle position of section 1. Crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. After completing, fasten off the yarn. For row 1, join the yarn on the left side of the right side. Pick up the chain stitches, and crochet the corresponding stitch pattern. Finally, slip stitch and fasten off on the right side. Then, join the yarn again on the left side. Pick up the back loops and crochet the corresponding stitch pattern. Finally, fasten off on the right side as well. This section roughly occupies one side of part 1. For row 3, join the yarn in the same position as row 2. Pick up the back loops and crochet one row. Finally, slip stitch and fasten off at the previous insertion point. For the last row, row 4, continue crocheting on the right side. You need to create raised sections on both sides. The size of these raised sections and the shape of the fabric piece can be adjusted according to your preference. Finally, you can crochet patterns in the small horizontal bar positions left on the right side. Use the same stitch pattern randomly. Everyone can crochet according to their own preference. Next, refer to the previous demonstration. Follow the chart to complete the small flowers. Finally, learn to crochet the flower buds. The crochet technique for these flower buds is similar to step 12 of the small flowers, but the shape in part 1 is slightly smaller. Based on the explanation of the small flowers, crochet your preferred style of flower bud. That concludes the explanation of the flowers. Finally, sew on the decorations. First, let's look at the decorations for the top. Sew a large flower at the shoulder parts of the right front piece. Add a few small flowers, 1 flower bud, 1 calyx, 2 stems, and several leaves. You can refer to the finished product for the specific arrangement, or arrange them according to your own preference. Note that the flower bud should be paired with the calyx. Sew the leaves and stems using the same yarn as the crocheted stems. Use any color of your choice to sew the flowers. When sewing, make sure not to show any sewing traces on the right side. Overlap the flower petals and leaves, ensuring the edges of the petals are well covered, creating an attractive effect. Arrange the leaves according to your preference, placing them underneath the stems and flowers. For the decorations on the skirt, sew 1 large flower, 1 bud, 1 calyx, and the remaining stems and leaves. The bottom should be about 6 centimeters away from the edge. Everyone can sew these parts together using the same method. This completes the explanation of the decorations. Up to this point, the entire set has been explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.